Greetings and salutations, everybody. Lord X here, and it's that time of the year again to count down my top 10 favorite games of 2018. And the keyword there being my favorite games. These are not necessarily the best games that came out this year, just the ones that I had the most fun with. Your list is going to be completely different. Lists you see popping up on IGN, Polygon, VG Gamer, whatever. Their lists are going to be different than mine. I do have a few honorable mentions that I'll say at the end of the video, as well as some reasonings why some certain games are not on this list, which you think they might have been if you know who I am and what types of games that I love. Anyways, let's dive right into the list with number 10. Number 10. Coming in at number 10, it's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch. What can I say about this game that hasn't been said by anyone else on the internet? It is crammed, packed full of content. The gameplay is fun, fluid. The amount of extras in this game is insane. The World of Light, even though I've only played a little bit of it, has been really, really cool. Maybe if I played more than that, it would be higher on my list. But I'm ranking it in at number 10 because I'm not a big fighting game person, unless you throw in a massively great story like NetherRealm usually does. And the fact that it only just came out recently, I haven't played that much of it, to be honest. But I am really digging it. The character choice in the game is just insane and phenomenal, and Sakurai, God bless you. This would probably rank a lot higher on my list if Joker was included right from the beginning, because Persona fucking rules. Anyways, that's number 10, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 9, Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age. I love JRPGs. You all know that because JRPGs always end up on my list every single year, and Dragon Quest XI will be no different. It's here for a reason. It would probably be higher if I've played through a lot more of it, but I'm keeping it up at number 9 because I haven't gotten around to playing a lot more of it. However, I have recently hit one of the key points where it just sank its claws into me. And even now when recording this top 10 list, I want to go play more Dragon Quest. That is a great sign of a great JRPG. I am really digging the characters. The music in the game is not the best. That's the one downside criticism I would give it. But I'm really enjoying the combat. I'm really liking the story right now. And yeah, it's just another great JRPG that if you love the genre, highly, highly recommend Dragon Quest. It's just great that we've gotten another one of these games in a time where not a lot of JRPGs, true AAA good JRPGs come out anymore. Number 8, Guacamelee 2. I absolutely swear that Drinkbox Studios can do no wrong, because Guacamelee 2 is just as fun as the first game. The combat is really nice. You're picking up powers rather quickly. It's not an overly long game, but it's just the right amount. It's a great Metroidvania. It's just so much fun, and the story is really cool this time. You're saving the Mexiverse, so there's a ton of references to other video games. Less on the memes this time, even though they make fun of that at one point in the game. And a lot more focused on just other games. You'll see references to God of War in this game, and Spider-Man, Fortnite, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. There's references everywhere in the game, and it's really cool. So if you like Metroidvania games and you love the first Guacamelee, or even like the first Guacamelee, I highly recommend that you give Guacamelee 2 a really good chance. Shame that I took so long to get around to playing it, but I absolutely loved it when I did, and it is definitely one of the best games, in my opinion, for 2018. Number 7. WWE 2K19. Yeah, a return to a WWE game being on my top 10 list. Why? This game is freaking good! The improvements that they've made this year in terms of the gameplay is just great. It's more fast, more fluid, more fun to play. The roster is awesome as it always is, and the DLC coming is great. The story mode in this game, holy shit, the story mode was actually really good this year and really fun to play. Like last year and the year before, really tedious what they had you doing. But this time they made a story from start to finish with a narrative. It was a lot smoother. It played really great. There was ups and downs and twists and turns, and I loved every second of it. What else? The character creation is just as good as it always is. Go download Mecha Kitty. They're on page 2 of the PS4 downloads right now. I believe it's over 6,000 downloads at this point. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Yeah, I love this wrestling game this year, and I can't get enough of it. Great wrestling game, 2K. You did good this year. Number 6. Celeste. I love a good platformer. I am a massive fan of Super Meat Boy, and Celeste, gameplay-wise, really scratched that itch for me. It was just quick respawns, challenging but fair platforming. You screw up, it's your fault, really. This game was just so much fun to play on a gameplay level. It's just unreal. I love this type of game, and Celeste nailed it perfectly. But what tips Celeste further, in my opinion, is the story, the narrative, just their take on explaining and dealing with mental illness was absolutely beautiful to watch unfold. Like, I was hooked on the story of this game more so than I really enjoyed the gameplay of it. And like I just said, I enjoyed the gameplay a ton. Celeste definitely deserves to be up there when talking about Game of the Year anywhere. It deserved its nomination on the Video Game Awards this year from Jeff Keighley. This game is very special in so many different ways. I loved playing it on the Switch too, by the way. It was like the perfect handheld experience. This game is it's just beautiful. Like, for me, this is this year's journey, really. Love this game. I highly recommend that you go play it. Number 5. Ni no Kunai 2 Revenant Kingdom. I really enjoyed the first Ni no Kunai, but I never did finish it. But, oh, you better believe I finished Ni no Kunai 2 from start to finish. I was hooked on this game. It took a little while. There were a few other distractions from God of War. But when I finally did sit down and start to really dive deep into this game, I was hooked. Just building up the kingdom, going out, recruiting people. That had its claws in me for so long. I loved every second of it. The gameplay was great. I loved how it's more of an action RPG now instead of the Pokemon-esque battles of the first one. I thought that was a great improvement. I loved this a lot more than the first game's combat. The story, while not feeling as special as the first game, was still really good. I loved all the characters in the game. I thought they were great. It was fun. It was joyful. It was lighthearted. And for that, I absolutely loved it, because you get in, and even though there was a dark overtone in this game, like, there was shit going on that was like scary bad, it was always joyful, always optimistic, and I love that about that game. That made it just a pure joy to play. And if you love JRPGs like I do, you should really go give Ni no Kunai 2 a really big chance, because I think you'll enjoy it. Even though a lot of people I've heard do not like the game, but for me personally, I loved it. I thought it was something really special. And that's why it's so high up here on my list. Number 4. Detroit Become Human. I know what you're going to say. Oh, this game isn't that good. It doesn't deserve to be on here. Well, shag it. I really, really enjoyed Detroit Become Human. I'm a big Quantic Dream fan. I love Heavy Rain. I think it's the best game that they've ever done. I never really did play Indigo Prophecy. I enjoyed Beyond Two Souls a lot, even though a lot of people hated that game. I thought it was really good, and Detroit Become Human is no different. I fucking enjoyed this game so much, and the improvements that they did this year, especially showing the branching paths, like what could happen, or which way you went on the path compared to the other paths that you might have gone through. I thought that was a great idea. I thought the story was really good this year. Who knew David Cage made his most emotional game through using androids? Who knew, right? But yeah, I really dug this. I really enjoyed the futuristic setting. I thought it was great. I loved all the characters. Kara was great. Connor was great. The other guy whose name I can't remember right now was fantastic as well, and his journey becoming the android leader. It's been a while, folks, since I played the game, so I'm going to forget some names. But I really enjoyed Kara, and I really, really dug the character of Connor. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The journey that he goes through in this game was just absolutely fantastic. I ended up with one of the good endings. So yeah, I really love this game. I think it's great. It's one of the best choose your own adventure type games, because this is what they really are. Loved those books as a kid. Maybe that's why I love these games so much. But yeah, I thought this game was great. In my opinion, you should really give it a fair chance. Number 3. We live in a golden age right now, folks, because we are getting Yakuza game after Yakuza game unfiltered coming to the PlayStation 4 here in the West, and it is a great time to be alive. And nothing is better right now than Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. This game is awesome. And although there were a few things scaled back in terms of games and such this time around, the story in this game is what sells it. The epic conclusion for Kaoru Kazuma, the Dragon of Dojima, was amazing and just so beautifully written. This game hooked its claws into me from start to finish. I loved every single second of it. I plan right now on this being my 100th platinum trophy. Once I get it up to that number, I'll stick the game back in and grind out as much as I have to in order to get that platinum trophy, because I want this game to be number 100 for me, because it is really that special. I love this game. It is so freaking good. And if you are a fan of the Yakuza series, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. It's brilliant. The combat feels better than it ever has. Yeah, it's awesome. I don't want to say much more because I don't really want to spoil anything in the game. But if you are a Yakuza fan, you've already played this. It is just great. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, definitely deserves to be number 3 on my list for this year. Alright, folks. I know what you're thinking right now. There's 2 spots left on this list. Why isn't Lord X just diving right into number 2? Well, I think it's pretty obvious on how I've talked on Twitter this year, and even throughout this video, really. There are only 2 games that can really be at number 2 and at number 1. And there they are right there. God of War, Spider-Man, but which goes into which spot? That's the thing I've been really racking my mind over in this video, leading up to this video, recording this video, and deciding my top 10 list. Which one do I put where? Because I absolutely love both of these games, and it was a very hard decision for me to do this year, but it all came down to one reasoning, just one simple thing that made me decide one game over the other. But I love both of these games, and they could easily be interchangeable. You ask me a week from now, Lord X, what's your favorite game? They'd probably be reversed somewhere. But anyways, let's just finish up the list, and I'll explain why each one is at which spot when we get into it. Number 2, God of War. Now let me just say this right out of the gate. God of War is absolutely, by far, no questions asked, the best game made this year. It really is. From the combat to the story. You know, they took God of War just being from this brutal hack and slash story, kind of second nature game, and turned it into this emotional journey between father and son, with Kratos trying his damn best to not be the Kratos of old and to be a father figure to this child and teach him what's right and wrong, even though Kratos himself has been a very bad person. It's just incredible. And the scale of this game, when you first encounter the world serpent, is great. The hints of story, that's stuff that's going on as a result of Kratos and Artemis's journey. It's just mind-boggling. It is phenomenal. It's fantastic. And yeah, it is the best game of 2018. And really, it's kind of disappointing even to myself that I'm putting it here at number 2. It should go at number 1 because I had an amazing time with this game. As soon as I picked it up, I could not put it down. It absolutely deserves every Game of the Year award that it's been winning. It is just a phenomenal piece of art. It's just an incredible game, and it's an accomplishment that deserves to be praised on every single level. It's so good. It is so flipping good. If you have not played this game yet, you deserve to do so. If you played the original God of War and thought, yeah, they were fun, but I hate Kratos, I thought he was a terrible character, play this game. It agrees with you on so many levels about that, and shows you that people can change, that new journeys can open up new experiences. It's so good. The boss battles in this game are so good. There's not a whole lot of them, and it makes them special. This is, the greatest accomplishment in video games this year. By far. Absolutely, by far. And if not for my number 1 pick, as you all now know, this would have been number 1 on my list this year. However, number 1. Yes, my platinum trophy for 2018 goes to Spider-Man PlayStation 4. Why? One simple reason why this game beats out God of War for me for my top 10. And that's a reasoning I said at the very beginning of this video. This was the game I had the absolute most fun with this year. Swinging around the city as Spider-Man is the best it's ever been in this game. The story is a really, really good Spider-Man story. It's unique, it's different. There's new twist on familiar villains, which is fantastic. The fact that this game takes place 8 years after he first became Spider-Man is great. It's not an origin story. You get to see glimpses of these past 8 years and the collectibles that you do in the game. And that's another thing, the collectibles. All the side stuff was so much fun to do. I just had a blast with this game, and the combat feels great. The suits, the powers, all of it just so much fun to use and experience. I bought a PlayStation 4 Pro for this game. I bought the limited edition Spider-Man PlayStation 4 Pro, and that alone was worth it. This game was worth $550 goddamn dollars, in my opinion. It is that flippin' much fun to play. It's just so much fun. The care, the love that Insomniac put into this game for Spider-Man fans was great. And going back to the story, it was emotional, like absolutely emotional the way things went. I cried at the end of this game for a certain moment because I didn't think they'd have the balls to do it, or they wouldn't be allowed to do it, but they did it, and that was just emotionally wrecking for somebody who loves Spider-Man so much, who loves Marvel so much. It was just great. And I'm getting kind of emotional now while thinking about the game. Yeah. While God of War is, I think, the absolute best game made this year, just from start to finish, story, combat, and everything else, Spider-Man for me was the most fun that I've had this year. And that's what I always come back to when I make my top 10 list, is which games did I have the most fun with? Which games stuck with me the most? And while God of War overall on a story level really stays with me in that emotional ride, Spider-Man for me, just maybe it's the novelty of me being a massive Marvel fan and knowing much more about this property, really. The emotional hits really stuck with me a lot more in Spider-Man, and I really did have a lot more fun playing this game. I platinumed the game over 3 days. Even after I was done with the game, had a platinum trophy. Even before the DLC came out, I would put this game in every couple of days, almost every day, really, taking a break from other games just so I could swing around the city, beat up a few criminals. That's how much fun I had with this game. The fact that I 100%ed it, but I was still going back to play more. And the DLC has been great as well. Loved every second of that so far. Cannot wait for the third piece, which will be out by the time this video goes up. Loved it. Insomniac, you beautiful, beautiful developers. Thank you for making the best Spider-Man game ever made. And there you have it, folks. My top 10 games for 2018. It's been an awesome year. And again, I just want to say that number 2 and number 1, God of War and Spider-Man, easily interchangeable. But one had to go at number 2, and then one had to go at number 1. So there you have it. Had to do it that way. Now, at the beginning of the video, I did promise some honorable mentions and some reasoning why some games are not on this list. Well, first and foremost, I don't own an Xbox One, so that's why there's no Xbox One exclusive games here on this list, because I don't play them. Not like there was many out this year anyway. But some honorable mentions that I want to go through: Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, the 8-bit game that they put out prior to Bloodstained. Fantastic, love that. It was on my top 10 for quite some time. It got bumped off by Smash Brothers when I finally settled on my list. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, I didn't really want to include it here on my list because it is a remake of the original Yellow game with a twist, with some different things going on, and I've been loving it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was. I thought I was going to miss random battles, but honestly I really don't. Though I do hope they bring them back for the next true generation game next year. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This was the first time I played the game. I never did buy it on Wii U, but I did pick up the Switch version this year, played through it, loved it, thought it was great. It was another one of those games that did eventually get bumped off because of the top 3 games on my list here. Captain Toad was at number 8 there for a while, but Guacamelee bumped it off. And another game that was bumped off my list, I had it at number 9 for the longest time, and that was Donut County on PlayStation 4. It's out now on Switch and the Xbox and PC everywhere. It is a fantastic game. It is reverse Katamari. Love this game to death. It is so good, so charming, so fun, and I highly recommend you pick it up. Especially if you're a Katamari fan, buy Donut County. Next up on my list here, Minute. In It to Win It with Minute. Fantastic game. It did glitch on me for a long time and I couldn't get the final trophy I needed for the platinum, but they patched it. I got it. I got the platinum. It's my 75th platinum. So yeah, really enjoyed Minute. It's a great experience. Another game I'd highly recommend you pick up. And a pretty easy platinum trophy too if you want to play it on PS4. Next up is a game that I played very early in the year. I cannot remember if it came out back in January, or if it came out right at the tail end of last year, but Bridge Constructor Portal. Thought that game was fantastic. A lot of the puzzles drove me mental, but I loved it. And now for the big one that did not appear on my list, Red Dead Redemption 2. For a few reasons, it's not here. It didn't make my top 10. One, I have not played enough of this game. For a little while there, I was jumping between it and Dragon Quest, but right now Dragon Quest has its calls into me, and I'm playing that game pretty much non-stop. That's one of the reasons why I didn't include Red Dead 2 here. The other reason is, while the game looks beautiful, from what I've played so far, I don't think it's that great. Maybe the story does get better. I've heard that things do happen that will make you hooked. Maybe my opinion will change later on, but story-wise, it hasn't really grabbed me yet. Gameplay-wise, there's a lot of tedious things in this game, and stuff like that really start to bug the hell out of me after a while. So there's attention to detail, and then there's just going too far, and Rockstar, you may have gone a little bit too far here this time. So that's why Red Dead didn't appear on my list. Maybe if I had played through the entire game, my opinion would have changed and it would have made it into the top 10 somewhere. But yeah, that's why it didn't make it there. And the final game, which I'm sure some of you are like, wow, that didn't make Lord X's list? And that's Octopath Traveler. I was so excited for this game, like, so friggin' excited for this game, but, and starting off, I loved it. I thought it was great. I started with, I can't remember whose story I started off with the Hunter, whose name now I forget, but I started off with her, then the Thief, eventually getting the others, and Primrose. I thought Primrose's story was really good. She's an awesome character. The music in this game is fantastic, but how the story never really interconnected. Like, they were all individual stories, and that's cool, that's great. I'm somebody, when playing a JRPG, I love one massive overarching story, and the fact that when I went from the Hunter and I went and got the Thief, starting the Thief's story off, he's like, I don't want nobody with me, I work alone, and as soon as that little bit of backstory is finished and you catch up to the point where the Hunter, where I met up with him, he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this thing, you want to come with me? That's fine, sure, let's go. Like, that made no sense to me and really kind of broke the game a bit for me in terms of storytelling. And yeah, I just really found the game to become really tedious, so fortunately that's why it didn't make my list. And if I'm really honest, if I had to pick a top disappointment for 2018, it's going to be Octopath Traveler. Just really unfortunate for a guy that loves JRPGs as much as I do, and the style of this game, like, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. If I had to rank just games in terms of style, it would be up there. Unfortunately, can't do that because it didn't grab me, it didn't hook me, it didn't make me want to play more. And unfortunately, disappointment award this year gotta go to Octopath Traveler. There were a few other games here that I think would have made my top 10. if I'd actually gotten around to playing them. I have not been able to sit down and play these games yet. Those are Valkyria Chronicles 4. I'm a big fan of the first game. Love the second game as well for what I played of it on the PSP. 3 never came out here. But I'm sure this game would have made my top 10 if I'd gotten the chance to really sit down and play it. I haven't yet. It's going to be one of those games which I really do start up in the new year. Shenmue 1 and 2 HD. I have never played the Shenmue games, so even though I don't include remasters like the Spyro trilogy, which I've been loving, since I never played these games before, this is a kind of a new release for me, so maybe if I'd gotten into them, there would have been a chance for them making my top 10, but unfortunately not. This next game, it came out on Xbox last year, came out on PS4 this year. That's Tacoma. Again, another one of those games I haven't gotten the chance to play yet. Picked it up on Black Friday sales, just haven't gotten around to it. Next up, on the Switch, both of these games I bought on the Switch. Hollow Knight, again, haven't gotten around to it yet. By all accounts, this is a game that I should love and enjoy playing when I do. And the last one is Into the Breach, which I loved FTL. This is the next game from them. They put it out on the Switch this year. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but I love strategy games, so I'm sure, again, this had a very good chance of making my top 10. But there you go, folks. That's my top 10 list for this year, and just one little extra thing here that I want to add on the end. I know this video is getting overly long now. Thank you for sticking around if you have. But one of the videos, I think I did a video on this, or I might have just did it on a random episode of the Glitched Out show. That was my most anticipated 2018 game. So I just wanted to take a look at this list and see where things actually ranked on my list. So at number 10 here, I had The World Ends With You Final Remix. Haven't bought that game yet. Number 9, I had Dragon Ball FighterZ. Again, haven't bought that game yet. At number 8, I had Red Dead Redemption 2. It didn't make my top 10. At number 7, I had Fire Pro Wrestling World. Bought it, enjoyed it for what it was. It's good. It's a really fun game, but just there wasn't enough there for me to put this into my top 10 games of the list for this year, though I did enjoy it. At number 6, I had Valkyria Chronicles 4, just as I said, haven't got around to playing it yet. At number 5, I had Ni no Kunai 2, and sure enough, it made number 5 on my top 10 games of the year list, so there you go. One of my most anticipated landed right where I thought it was going to land on my top 10 list. At number 4, I had Yakuza Kiwami. Really? Kiwami? Oh, strange. I never had 6 there. That's weird. Maybe I did mean to have 6 there at number 4. Oh, okay. Well, Yakuza Kiwami. Played that game this year. Loved it. So I think I meant to put Yakuza 6 there, so. Number 3, God of War. Again, I think it's the best game made this year. Number 2, I had Dragon Quest XI. It did make its way into my top 10 at number 9, so there you go. And at number 1, my most anticipated was Spider-Man on PlayStation 4, and sure enough, Spider-Man PlayStation 4 was my game of the year for 2018. Anyways, folks, that's it. I'm going to let you go now. Thank you so much for sticking right through to the very end of this video. I've been Lord X. I will have a top 10 most anticipated games of 2019 video up within the next few days or so, as well as a top 10 movies of 2018 video and a top 10 most anticipated movies of 2019 video, all hopefully rolling out within the next few days or so. So once again, I've been Lord X, you have been awesome, and I will catch you next time.